Let me recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Swazi, to inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the witnesses for spending all this time here. I've been out to 5 different things during the course of this time. You've been sitting here the whole time, so we're so grateful. We're so grateful to you for all the time that you've spent here. You're experts in this area, and we're very grateful to you for the time you're spending. You know, in January of 2017, public official in this country, when talking about the pharmaceutical company, said, these guys are getting away with murder. That was President Trump. He said that back in January of 2017. And people recall that President Trump said during his campaign, he said, we need to negotiate with the pharmaceutical drug companies to lower the cost of prescription drugs. And I actually wrote a list when he was first elected of the things that he said that I agreed with him with, things I disagreed with. And this is something that I certainly agree with. And I'm hoping that in the midst of all this dysfunction that's happening in Washington, D.C. these days, that we can do something that will actually help real people, Ms. Reed, will help real people who are facing real problems. This is one of the biggest problems that cuts across all different demographics, all different geographic areas, all different age groups. Everybody's affected by these high prescription drug costs. And as the president said in January of 2017, these guys are getting away with murder. This is a life and death issue for many families. And so I just want to ask you, Dr. Miller, I think I may have asked you a question like this before in the past. Is it accurate to say that most large drug companies spend more money on advertising and marketing than they do on research and development?
The analyses that I've seen suggest that that is true.
And Mr. Ippolito, do you know that there's only 2 countries in the world that can advertise their drugs on television?
I believe I've heard that stat before, yes.
Which 2 are they? Do you know?
I believe it's New Zealand, is that correct?
New Zealand and
U.S.
the United States of America. So think of all the money that's spent on advertising. And what do they say in all those drug commercials? They say, you're going to have this problem, this possible side effect, this possible side effect. Call your doctor. What happens? A lot of money is spent on doctors marketing drugs to them to persuade them that they should sell this particular drug to their clients, to their patients. So the idea, you know, I was with somebody who's a very high official in the government who also worked for prescription drug companies. And he said, regarding this argument that if we were to negotiate these drug prices down, that it would affect innovation, the pharmaceutical companies are overplaying their hand. Now, I can understand if we bashed them, we drove them into the ground and they lost all their profits, they wouldn't have the money to spend on research and development. But to say by what we're trying to do here, which is to try and align us with 120% of the international marketplace of our peers, is going to ruin their profits, doesn't make any sense. So do you think that they're overplaying their hand by saying that innovation will go away if we reduce these drug prices? Dr. Miller, what do you think about that?
Yes, this has come up, and I've said a couple of times there's $6 to $7 trillion spent here. They're profit-seeking organizations. R&D leads to profits. The U.S. will be a large market in any case. Even under this bill, the prices will still be the highest anywhere in the country. It'll continue to be a market that is going to be attractive, and I do believe that there's enough revenue that can be redeployed into innovation. And then the other thing is that if the European prices rise, then that's more dollars that fill in anything that might be taken out.
Well, Dr. Ippolito, the pharmaceutical companies make profits in other countries now, don't they?
So, yeah, they certainly sell their product.
I want to know, do you think they make profits in their other countries? Do you think the pharmaceutical companies make profits in other countries?
I don't know if they sell it above average cost, but they do sell above marginal cost of the product.
So they make a profit. I mean, why would they be selling in these other markets if they didn't make a profit? They're making a profit in other countries.
That doesn't mean they would make a profit if they sold.
Have you heard the expression by the president where he says that these are foreign freeloaders?
I've heard him say that, yes.
What do you think about that expression? You think the president's wrong to say that?
I think we subsidize a lot of the world's development of drugs.
So we subsidize a lot of the world's development of drugs by paying, my statistics say here, and I apologize if you've already talked about this in your testimonies to the witnesses, 4 times what those in peer countries pay for their prescription drugs. Have you heard that before? witnesses?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Hopkins research that suggests that, and there's an ASPE report on Part B drugs that suggests it's 2. And so I walk around saying 2 to 4 times.
Okay, I
Thank
see
you.
everybody was nodding their heads and answering my question, and I've run out of time, so I just want to thank you all for your testimony here today. I
We
appreciate
thank
it
the
very much.
gentleman. Dr.